thank you for inviting me. And early on, you may have heard that I'm a recently retired ICE agent. Well, paleontologists will say that dinosaurs disappeared a few years ago. I've been retired, well, I've retired twice from the federal government, which is rare. When I started out, typical of the federal government, I applied for a job at Fort Dix to teach school, and I ended up at the Border Patrol Academy in Fresno, Texas. Didn't even know where the Border Patrol Academy was, let alone that I was going to be an immigration officer. So I went to the beautiful downtown area of Newark, New Jersey, and started my career there. But it was a good place to start, and I liked it. I liked my career. I have lots of opportunities. I actually worked in every single state in the United States, mostly working with law enforcement, either doing investigations or teaching. I've done a lot of teaching, and I think there is a difference between chiefs and sheriffs. I've taught for the International Association of Chiefs of Police. Generally, chiefs of police report to a mayor, where sheriffs have to get elected. And I've also worked the National Sheriff's Association, and there is a difference there, and you have to realize that difference. When I started out, things were a little simpler, okay? Most of the people that I arrested in New Jersey came in on a visa. They didn't come across the border illegally, they didn't come from Canada, they didn't come from Mexico. We had occasionally. We also had a lot of people, because we were a busy port, we had a lot of crewmen in those days that would jump ship when they got to the United States. But technology wasn't like it is today. When I arrested someone and he had come in as a visitor and I had to determine how long he had been admitted as a visitor, I would have to pick up the phone and call Washington, D.C. for somebody to go through who knows how many millions of little cards down there to find this person. And that was a little frustrating too. But I can tell you that we worked, about 50% of our complaints that we worked were from other immigrants. They were from the immigrant community complaining about the bad apples that they wanted us to take out of their community. And we did respond to them, we did work with them. And I worked with people who I didn't arrest. I made an appointment to come in the office because I felt they had helped us and they should be rewarded for that. The other thing was that basically the court system functioned. We had judges, we had attorneys, we had everything we have today, but I can tell you most of the people that I arrested were deported in a week. And today that isn't the case. And part of the problem too is the amount of time it takes to move anybody today ties up the whole system. It's a little hard with 32 years to come up with what's the high points of it. Well, one is something that I'm going to tell this wonderful lady up front here who talked to me before, and it's the Law Enforcement Support Center. I don't know whether the police department knows about it, but back in '87 I was transferred to Washington to work and then came up here to Boston. And one of the things they needed me to do was, in those days you could not get a computer check of an alien. A police officer would call our office at night, we'd call the answering service, and then they would call me, and I'm sitting at home in bed to respond down to, for state police in New Jersey, but I have to call Washington to find out whether or not that person's good, bad, or indifferent. And this is a pretty lousy system to do things. So we came up with a thing called, now initially it was called the Criminal Alien Tracking Center. And that went up pretty far until we got the kind of the political appointees in Washington. Okay, and it became the Law Enforcement Support Center. Yep. It's up in Vermont, and it works very effectively. And it took a long time. It took me 5 years to get it going because immigration wasn't too hep on giving a written answer to law enforcement. You just couldn't pick up the phone and then the local ICE office, in those days it was the Criminal Investigation Division,